Good evening, friends. I'm sorry I can't join you tonight. I was looking forward to a fellowship moment and hour with my strong partners in advocacy to eliminate the scourge of sexually transmitted diseases. Fortunately and challengingly, our work in Sacramento keeps us in the northern part of the state this evening. We're completing the legislative session, our first year of a 2-year biennium, where we debate any number of policy matters, work on fashioning a state spending plan for the annual fiscal year, and debate any number of pressing issues. Among them that has been chief for us this year is the issue of health, public health, mental health, behavioral health, and certainly physical health, and the challenges associated with the high rates of infection and transmission in the communities that make up the second supervisorial district and like communities around the state have been top of mind in our advocacy. I myself have attempted to not only bridge the work of the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health and the LA County Health Services Agency, the We Can Stop STDs Coalition, but also look at legislation that takes a more effective and informed step toward reducing health disparity, infections, lack of understanding and knowledge. I'm very proud to have supported legislation that has equalized the penalties associated with not sharing the information about HIV transmission with a sexual partner. The concern being that when such legislation was enacted, that it disproportionately lifted up HIV/AIDS as a felony offense of highest consequence in terms of criminal penalty, separate from other communicable diseases. This had the adverse impact of actually driving individuals underground to try to, one, not find out their status, and two, when they did, not sharing the information with anyone. So, as opposed to a deterrent, it created an inverse or perverse incentive to encourage those who found out about their status to not share and to try to skirt the law. And it has not had an effective way of doing so. So we partnered with Senator Scott Wiener, supported his bill in the Assembly Committee on Health, which I've been a member of for several terms now, and on the Assembly floor. Not without its own controversy, given the subject matter, the lack of understanding, the lack of appreciation for how a progressive tact might form around these issues. And it's not progress simply for progress's sake, it's progress for the sake of eliminating disparity, increasing awareness, decreasing misunderstanding and miseducation. Public policy is in no small measure played a role in this. I'm also pleased to have reaffirmed the state's commitment to the ADAP program and that's the AIDS Drug Assistance Program, and supporting our Medicaid implementation here in California, which is called Medi-Cal. It is really the last line of defense in making sure that we have basic health necessities coverage. There are a number of ways that we can improve that, be it through ensuring that health facilities can be licensed and that medical professionals find their way to various parts of South Los Angeles. But we have at least kept funding, state funding in place for the pharmaceutical therapies that help with the management, triage, and wellness of those who are suffering from HIV/AIDS, as well as making sure that general wellness for low-income people, those of limited means, does have some support. It's not perfect. We don't have a great Medicaid system in California. We pay providers too little. We have inadequate distributions of facility per population in rural and low-income areas. But we have something, and that something is what we can build upon. The foundations of the infrastructure that we need that will eventually reach, in my perspective, near or completely universal coverage. Another thing that has changed since last we spoke, in my mind, are the challenges that are faced from the federal level. They are severe. We are not unique in California, save that we have larger numbers. And the challenge that we face in Washington, D.C. at the moment is that the Trump administration, the Republican-controlled House and Senate, are more focused on finding savings in order to reduce tax rates than they have been in terms of their public sentiments, improving wellness. They're trying to cut back as much as they can in order to save a buck and shift costs from the federal government to states and individuals who are seeking to have health care. This is a fundamentally different understanding of wellness management between the two political parties. And it is stark with respect to all of the energy that has gone into repealing President Barack Obama's efforts on health care and expanded Medicaid and wellness incentives and reducing waste in the healthcare spend. And it's just not as well tailored or as well thought of as one might hope. The efforts in the U.S. Senate have been revived, so we essentially have to the end of September to figure out any number of things. One is what the federal government will be spending for the next year. The federal fiscal year goes through the end of September. The second thing is to understand what level of health care spending we expect and whether or not there will be more cuts to health care or slower cuts to health care or lack of growth to health care, which is an effective cut in the future, in order to pay for other things, primarily defense and tax cuts. And those are questions of fundamental values of this country that the state of California has been pretty clear on for over 50 to 60 years, that we believe in health care. We believe in a social safety net. We believe in the education system. We believe in economic opportunity. We believe in expanded prosperity. All those things are aided when we have shared investment in public institutions, whether it be the public health apparatus or any of those other institutions that I've shared: water, transportation, even crime and punishment and rehabilitation in our criminal justice system and our prison systems. So this is of great concern when you're a legislator and you see the rhetoric around healthcare spending. You have to take notice. The legislature will adjourn on Friday, September the 15th, for several months. We are likely to come back briefly in December and then be full-time in Sacramento beginning again in January. That schedule will likely change, however, if we see the federal government drastically reduce the investment and cost burden associated with promoting wellness for the citizens and residents of this country. So we're watching very closely. I'll be in Washington, D.C. in the early part of October in order to advocate for the state's voice on this topic. It's no small measure that we are having to weigh between tax cuts and health care. It's a statement of values, and I'm going to stand with people. And notwithstanding some folks feeling their taxes are a little high, I would argue that your slightly increased tax rates are more than sustainable in order that you have opportunity to educate yourself on wellness, develop healthy habits, be informed about the necessities of wellness care to promote longevity and the like. I'm also acutely aware, and not in no small measure, because of the work of WeCanStopSTDsLA, that there is a growing reality that we must reconcile in the area of aging and long-term care. So you should look to my office as one that is a listening ear, but that also hopes to set a tone in the level of conversation around aging and long-term care and how Californians retire with dignity in their golden years. Or if you choose not to retire, like many who are involved in We Can Stop STDs LA, that you work with grander and greater protections, security, and comforts. I know that I intend to work till my very last day. So those are the things that are occupying a great deal of our time. We are excited about the possibilities ahead, and we are not put upon or deterred by the challenges. What we need from each and every one of you is your continued vigilance. In times like these, the righteous must be vigilant. They must be sharp, they must be focused, they must be engaged, they must set an example for their peer group, for their children, for their grandchildren, about how we move forward, about how we dig in, about how we recommit ourselves to institutions that have brought us thus far along the way. I know that with each and every one of you, we will be all right. I may have said it the last time we met as a group, but there's a modern day prophet named Kendrick Lamar, and his anthem has been carried by the Black Lives Matter movement. And the lyric, the refrain is, "We gon' be alright." And I think that it has had such resonance because, in part, it connects to the language of our forebears and ancestors. And when they said that we'll be all right, be all right, be all right, there is resonance between that which is old and that which is new. Life is a cycle, and what goes around comes around, and that which is done before will come again, maybe twice if you just keep living. We, additionally, something that should be brought to your attention is we'll be having an office opening for our Constituent Services Center, which is now on Crenshaw and 39th Boulevard, right in the heart of the communities that We Can Stop STDs LA seeks to serve. So we'd love to see you on Saturday, November the 4th, there at 39th and Crenshaw Boulevard. Until then, friends, I'm going to wish you well. I'm going to hope to see you better, brighter, smiling, and joyous than I did last. And I'm going to hope that you embrace the opportunities, the purpose of now, and that you reach out to us by any means. And we will see you, if not in person, on social media. Thank you and God bless you. Our staff will reach out to you, and they're there in case you need to share something in the immediate. Much love and good evening. Enjoy your dinner.